Hi, my name is Jack Tyler from the Boston Sax Shop, and this is Ask Boston Sax, the show where we take your questions about saxophones and actually answer them. Hey Jack, it seems that I'm always hearing that if you're good, or as you improve with playing the saxophone, you should increase your reed strength and your mouthpiece tip opening. What do you think about this? Okay, so in very generalized terms, when you either increase the tip opening of your mouthpiece or increase the strength of your reed, you are adding more resistance to your setup. And if it's the good kind of resistance, which I call cooperative resistance, meaning it's like a good reed, not a warped reed or a reed that's stuffy that happens to be harder, what that's going to do is basically allow you to move more air through your horn and get a higher ceiling of volume without having to do a bunch of crazy stuff with your embouchure. So if that's what you're looking for as a player, if you want to be able to play louder, if you want to be able to move more air without feeling it back up, because when you play a smaller tip and a softer reed, if you really move a lot of air through there, it will eventually start to push back on you and you will hit that ceiling. So if you're looking for a wider range of volume, then you are eventually going to probably go to a mouthpiece that's a little bit bigger or a reed that's a little bit harder. Now that being said, there is nothing that says that you have to do that. There's plenty of great saxophone players who play relatively modest setups and soft reeds. Ben Wendell is one of those folks who plays like a 2.5 Boston Sax Shop reed on like a 7-star and 8-star tenor mouthpiece. So if your teacher or somebody is pressuring you to play a larger tip opening or harder reeds and it's really uncomfortable for you, you don't have to do it. It's gonna be okay. Hey Jack, my front teeth are becoming really sensitive when I bite down on my mouthpiece when I'm playing the saxophone. I know I'm probably putting too much pressure on the mouthpiece and biting down, but is there anything that you can think of that can help me out, maybe even something I can put on my teeth? Okay, so the simple solution you've pretty much already answered yourself, which is you're probably biting down way too hard. And I think the question you need to ask yourself is, why are you doing that? If you're having a hard time getting the upper register notes out, maybe it's time to go to a harder reed because that's going to give you more resistance to pop them out. I'm just assuming something here. Now, the second thing to do would be to ask yourself, are you using a tooth patch? Now, tooth patches come in a bunch of different flavors in terms of thickness and density and softness, and they do make some that are pretty soft, and that might be an easy solution just to slap one of the softer tooth patches on top of your mouthpiece. Now, if this is a really extreme situation and you tried all those things and it hasn't helped, you can make yourself a little tooth guard. Now, when I was learning how to play classical alto, which there will never ever be any public footage of because it's so embarrassing, I actually was playing a really hard setup and I was having problems with my lower teeth biting into my lower lip. And my teacher had me go out to a sports store, is that what you call them? I don't know anything about sports, and buy a football mouth guard. And what it was is something that you could put in water, hot water, and heat up, and then it would mold to your teeth. And I basically just cut out the front section of that and put it in between my lower tooth and my bottom lip so that when I was playing classical alto, it didn't hurt as bad. And I would imagine that, again, if you've tried those other things and it hasn't helped, you could do the same thing for your top teeth with a football tooth guard. And that would be the only sports reference ever made on Ask Boston Sax. Hey Jack, I've got a quick question. Are you ever going to design a Boston Sax Shop ligature for the soprano, bari, or even the clarinet? I really love the one that I have on my alto and hoping that you make more. Okay, so fun fact, our alto ligature actually fits really well on most hard rubber clarinet mouthpieces, and our tenor ligature fits on most hard rubber bari pieces. So if you have either one of those, you're already set with what we make. Now, in terms of soprano, that is definitely in the works, but the problem with soprano and bari is just the fact that there is so much variance in mouthpiece body size on those particular horns that it becomes really difficult to make one ligature that's going to work for a lot of mouthpieces, as opposed to alto and tenor, which I have found to be a lot more standardized and therefore easier to manufacture for. And that will be the only sports reference ever made on Ask Boston Sax.